Warning: the following program is a satirical look at Indigenous news, politics, and current events. A boil water advisory is advised.
All right, Anine, bonjour, and welcome to the Laughing Drum, my friends. It's television so deeply and profoundly Indigenous, our sweat smells like sweetgrass smoke, and it's just as sacred. I am your host, Tim Fontaine, and this facial hair isn't real. We have got an exciting show ahead of us. No headlines, no on the news tonight, because the Red Power panel just couldn't wait to tear into the hottest issues facing Indigenous peoples. Also, I don't feel like doing headlines this week. So let's get right into it. This week, the Red Power panel is comic and Indigenous hipster Sasha Mark, legendary funny person and Ojibwe Elvis, Jerry the Big Bear Barrett,
Hey.
the comedy king of Couchoussing First Nation, Alyssa Black Wolf, kicks in. Welcome to you all, my friends.
Oh, we're
Okay.
clapping now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, our first topic tonight is the video of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau being a dink to people from the Grassy Narrows First Nation. Here's the full story. Last week, Trudeau was speaking at the Laurier Club, which is an ancient liberal hangout where in order to be a member, you have to give at least $1,500 to the party. Now, some people from Grassy Narrows were there, and they shouted at him to do something about the decades-old mercury contamination that has plagued their region of Ontario for decades. The government has vowed to clean it up, but action has been slow, and some people there still suffer really horrific health problems from it. Anyways, here's how Trudeau handled that situation.
Narrows are suffering from mercury poisoning. You committed to addressing this crisis.
Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for your donation tonight. I really appreciate it.
All right, Red Power panel, what do you make of Trudeau's little run-in with the person from Grassy Narrows? Let's start with you, Jerry. I see you looking most...
Well, I found it embarrassing for him, really. And I realized that when he's speaking, especially at a big money fundraiser, that he has a message that he wants to put across to the party faithful and raise awareness about whatever issues are on his page. But when you're doing politics, when you're the Prime Minister and you get hecklers, it's not like stand-up comedy. We get hecklers all the time. We can handle them. It's meant to be fun, but not when you're the Prime Minister, and especially not when it's an important issue like the woman from Grassy Narrows had wanted to discuss. Yeah. And so I thought it was terrible that he put it off in such a flippant manner.
Mm-hmm.
Did it seem to you that this was like a knee-jerk reaction from him? I think that's what alarmed a lot of
people. It was a long day for the Prime Minister, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yes.
But he had that in his back pocket.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's the cameras are on, right?
Yeah.
This is the era of, what is it, the Instagram? Is that what the kids are calling it
Instagrams,
nowadays?
yeah. The MySpaces.
Yeah, exactly, the MySpace. That's quite popular. And so you got to really, really be on your toes as to what he's going to say, what all politicians are going to say. And to the liberals that sat there and laughed at him.
And cheered.
Yeah, tisk to you. Because somebody should have stood up and defended not just her, this woman, but the actual issue and say, hey, then maybe we should discuss this. Yeah. Let's get together after the dinner or after the Prime Minister spoke. But nobody stood up and came to her defense.
Alyssa?
No.
Sasha?
Go, Alyssa.
Go. I'm ready. Honestly, the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that video was Romeo Saginaw calling out Trudeau and saying, he doesn't give a about Indigenous people, and it's true. And he showed it in that moment that he truly did not care.
Yeah. Nor did very many people in that room, by the sounds of it.
No,
yeah. And that's like the heart of, arguably, the heart of the liberal machine. That's the money behind a lot of that party, right? Like a lot of old money was in the Laurier Club.
The complacency is it's out of hand. Yeah.
Sasha?
I was going to say, I don't know what's more polluted right now, the Grassy Narrows' access to water or Justin Trudeau's relationship with Indigenous people right now. Like they're just really bad right now. And what I was going to say too is that Yeah, those people that laughed at the joke, that's really messed up, because you're also laughing at somebody who doesn't have access. You're laughing at a community that doesn't have access to clean water, and you're also laughing at a joke that wasn't very funny. You know, like, boo on them, you know?
Well, they don't know. They don't know the reality of living on the reserve. I did a show just before Christmas on the White Dog First Nation, and you couldn't ask for really more down-home, humble people.
It's a beautiful
there.
community.
Beautiful community, and, you know, again, for shame, for you know, kind of pushing them aside, and, you know, for the sake of a one-liner that, you know.
So as he often does, Trudeau apologized for this. He said that it was in poor taste, and he apologized. He said he didn't handle him very well. What did you make of that apology?
Well, first of all, before the show here today, on our we got a phone call, and it came up, and my wife, you know, she works in corporate stuff, and she looked at it. She said, "That's an Ottawa area code coming up on her phone." And I said, "Oh, really? Maybe Justin Trudeau is phoning all the Indians individually to apologize to us." Hello, so sorry, so sorry.
That's his penance. He's got to,
I don't know, like, as a parent, one thing that I struggle with my kids is when they do something wrong and then they say sorry, but then they do it again. So with my kids, I've gotten into the habit of, you know, like, I don't want to hear you guys say sorry. I want to see your behavior change. That's the best apology. And I feel like for a grown man, he should get that by now. He should get that the word, you know, like, sorry really doesn't mean anything unless you back it up with action.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on it. And yeah, he just looked like he ate a shit sandwich. Shit-eating grin on his face.
All right, so one of the things that happened immediately after this, I mean, obviously this thing went viral within, you know, not very long after it was posted, but the Conservatives jumped on this.
Of course.
And we're doing a lot of for shame and a lot of how could he do this, you know what I mean? The poor people of Grassy Narrows. What did you make of the Conservative response?
Honestly, I just saw, like, when I saw the response from the Conservatives, all I saw, like, in my mind was like vultures. Because they're just like, whoa, more voters we can pick at.
Jerry, what did you make of
Well,
that?
the same thing. You know, as soon as a politician, you know, leader of a country, makes a big mistake, of course the opposition is going to jump on it and try to make, you know, get some more votes out of it. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me at all, really.
I mean, they were in power just before this. They had 10 years to fix that problem as well.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's fixable, it's doable.
Yeah.
And for some reason, the rest of mainstream media until now wasn't really aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's been some stories in the past, but it's something that very rarely comes to light unless there's something like this, and then it seems to be just as easily forgotten. But on that note, we got to take a short break, and when we come back, the Red Power panel is going to dig into some more topics facing Indigenous communities today. Don't go away. Go make a bannock sandwich and come back. And welcome back to the Laughing Drum, my friends. Television so exquisitely Indigenous, our signature is considered an unbreakable treaty. I'm here with TV's nichiest team of pundits, the Red Power panel, and we're moving on to our second topic of the night, and it's a real treat. Everyone's favorite unelected public figure is back in the news. Senator Lynn Beyak has been ordered to remove racist letters from her publicly funded website. Some of the letters call Indigenous people lazy whiners, but the senator says they're just edgy and opinionated. Last week, the Senate ethics officer disagreed and ordered her to take them down, but she has yet to do so, and now no one seems to be doing anything. Red Power panel, what do you make of this?
No one's doing anything about it, you say. What are the odds?
What are the odds?
I'm
Lazy
so surprised. I'm so surprised.
Lazy
But that seems to
whiners,
be what's
she sounds
happening.
like she'd be watching this show.
Because
should tune
it's
in.
bizarre. It's like you hear, like if I did something hateful, I would assume that my employer would either force me to take that down, or take it down themselves, especially if they have. It's
I
like
figure they're so old they don't know how to delete anything, you know.
I don't have her password. I can't do it.
I can't relate with any of that. You guys find your
But what do you think of this? What, like, when you first saw this story, what?
I feel like Lynn Beyak's website has hurt more Indigenous people than the dirty.com, you know?
This is the set of dirty.com.
And it's really bad, too, because when you have the conservative Andrew Scheer being like, hey, this is kind of racist. That's bad. That's racist.
Because that's the thing. I mean, there seems to be no consequences for this. Everybody has disavowed her, for other than the people apparently who wrote letters to her, but everybody's disavowed her. The Senate is like walking, like she's poisonous, walking away, and yet the letters are still up.
I'm not surprised. Like where we sit, like I'm not surprised. Like, she's been stupidly racist for her entire political career. When I read it, I was like, oh, that happened. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Okay, I guess back to scratching my butt. Like, it's just another day.
She just doesn't get it. She doesn't get certainly the issue at hand, but doesn't get the culture or doesn't respect the people and isn't smart enough up here to say, oh, this is bad. Let's take it down and re-examine this. Let's take a breath. Let's look at it and see. Because I don't know what the hell she does else during the day.
She's not on any committees. I don't know.
I think she plays with her hair. She knows that it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The more letters that get published, the bigger her hair gets.
It's her hair. It's full of racism. Like
hard to get out. Shampoo and shampoo. It's like bed bugs in my hair.
Like if people know, I mean, other than racist idiots, I guess, know that these are wrong, I suppose. I don't know. I don't even know if I should ask what's the harm in keeping them up, though. Like,
well, it feeds the the racists out there. Oh, well, if she can leave it up, then it must be okay. We can do this. I mean, all these other national publications are taking. If you put up a racist comment on an article, they'll take it down. They'll block anything that's racist, and it's too bad that that's where we are today.
And a lot of people are actually losing their jobs over, like, if somebody, puts out a racist tweet. I recently saw that where somebody made a racist tweet and their place of employment said, you either get rid of your Twitter account or you lose your job. So I'm finding that a lot more these days, people are being held accountable to, whatever sort of, and it usually has to do with racism or homophobia. And people are, starting to hold these people accountable and saying, like, if this is a representation of you and that's how you want to represent yourself in public, then you cannot be employed with us anymore. So for Lynn Beyak to not have any of those types of repercussions, I think that, to me, is what's so mind-boggling, is that she still exists. She really should be canceled. She should be canceled. Let's be realistic. Her existence should be canceled. But I mean, that's neither here nor there. I think that would be the next step, is saying, get rid of your, take care of your shit, or else
you should work in HR.
The HR video when you come on board is Alyssa. Take care of your
take care of your shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crazy things about this story. One of the things, Indigenous Services Minister Carolyn Bennett has been sort of leading a charge, I won't say the charge, to have her somehow compelled to bring those letters down. What do you make of that?
Well, somebody's got to do something. Somebody has to take the wheel in this issue. So the more people that are in power and have titles that need to step up and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carolyn's such a doer, right? She does.
I think that's the point I was getting to there.
She does so much. She dropped everything just to, look at this issue that still clearly nobody has done anything about. So, in Carolyn we trust.
This issue, like the whole concept of having letters on a website can be taken down in 15 minutes. Like that is it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not a long process, not a long job. It can be over in 15 minutes, but it's just
Maybe
it's
we
not
should
happening,
Maybe we should ask the Russians to do
The Russians
something.
to
The Russians
interfere.
can intervene and
Please interfere,
hack
intervene, take
their
them down.
website and take it down.
Everything I've read, though, backs up, Jerry, what you said earlier, that she doesn't seem to understand or chooses not to understand that this is harmful. It seems to shift every time they talk to her about whether she understands why this is bad. One of the things they've asked Beyak to do is to take cultural sensitivity training or something like that. Would that help in a situation like this?
She said residential schools were a great thing, and so I think we should just send her to one. Go. Field trip.
Can somebody even atone for this though? Like how do you?
It's a lifetime. It's a lifetime of experience on her, for her, that she hasn't understood the issues or how how residential schools affected our people, and just not thinking it through, and as I say, not appreciating the culture and the horrors that are associated with this. So I don't know how you would fix that. I don't know how long the sensitivity training course is. Is it like an hour in the afternoon after?
It's 85 years long.
Okay. Because or is it an online thing? Is it an app? I don't know. Yeah. But it's an intense. It should be an intense course that she would have to take, or anybody that takes that's involved in this racist hate speech, and try to fix it. But I don't know that you can. Yeah. Can you still hook up those electrodes to people's heads?
On that note, we got to take a short break. But when we come back,
I'm just trying to help.
We're going to have more with the Red Power panel. Fix yourself some tea and come right back.
Did you know we got the social medias?
Don't lie.
It's true. Like the Laughing Drum on Facebook and follow us on Twitter right now.
It's going down in history. Welcome back to the Laughing Drum, my beloved Laughing Drumlets. I'm Tim Fontaine, and I am here with the Red Power panel, and we are about to dig into our third and final topic of the night. All right, now imagine walking up to your public library and being told to walk through a metal detector. Well, that's what's been happening at the Winnipeg Public Library's downtown location. The library says there have been violent incidents in recent years and the move was necessary, but community advocates say it's deterring Indigenous people and other marginalized groups who frequent the center. Red Power panel, you had to go through a metal detector to get here.
Yes.
What were your first thoughts on seeing this? Because I think we've all been downtown and have seen that lineup for the library.
It's been a while since I've been to the Winnipeg Public Library downtown, and 5 years ago perhaps. I should take that book back. But there were no metal detectors, or I didn't have any weapons on me. It seemed like a nice, safe place to go, but then it's all gone to hell recently. But I honestly believe that Winnipeg seriously has to look at the meth problems, meth addictions here in the city, and have and do treatment for people who are hooked on the dope, and then so that they don't go to a public place like the library to shoot up.
Yeah.
And you had an experience there.
Yes, quite the experience.
Speaking of math.
Speaking of
That's a great segue, Jerry.
I do what I can.
Melissa, what
Thanks
happened?
for that.
What happened? Your experience at the library?
So I was asked to do a speaking engagement at the Millennium Library for a magazine, and when I got there, they went through my purse with a drumstick, and then they patted me down and put with those wand thingies. Oh, and then you have to turn around, and then they go in between your legs too. It's quite invasive, but it's like you go to the library to escape, right? You want to go to Narnia, you want to go to the Shire, you want to travel to tropical places. Well, it's really like traveling because it is worse than the airport. Like, when I went to the airport the last time I flew to Toronto, I didn't get a pat down.
Yeah.
I did, like, they just put my bag through an x-ray thing, and then that was that. At the Winnipeg Library, they, like, it was intense. And then when I made a joke about it, they didn't appreciate it. So,
Just like the airport.
just like the airport. But, yeah,
Not impressed.
I'm not.
Speechless.
It is a library. Like, you can go to the Winnipeg Art Gallery, where they have millions of dollars worth of art and artifacts, and they have, like, security guards, like, trolling the grounds, but you're not going through a metal detector, and you're not being patted down.
Yeah.
Also, the security at the Winnipeg Art Gallery is kind of nice. I've only had good interactions. Like, good
true.
security
Yeah,
exists.
yeah,
Good security exists, for
Yeah.
sure. I remember reading the article about that when it was like beginning to happen, and they're like, the Winnipeg Library is getting a bunch of uniformed security, and I was like, wow, they spelled uninformed wrong, you know? You know? I was like, that was a bad move.
Well, maybe it shouldn't be a library anymore. Given the downtown core and what's happening, they're only books, they can move them somewhere else. But people are coming in there the homeless are coming in there to get out of the cold when it's minus 50 degrees at Portage in Maine. And it seems like a safe environment. And it's handy because it's right downtown. It's government funded. And so, like I say, with the meth addiction problems, people are going in there to shoot up and what have you. And maybe it should be changed into a safe area where you can...
Or have a safe injection site. Or have a safe injection site in
Because
the
it's a tall building.
Yeah.
Some guy jumped off the 4th floor in the same
right.
building
Yeah,
and
that's
committed
right.
suicide.
Yeah,
the
that's
poor
right.
guy. And so they've had a problem for several years now, and it seems like they're certainly trying to address the problem. But
that aside, though, I mean, that could be said of any public building anywhere.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is a library, though, right? Like, why? It just seems odd to me. Like, why choose that building to do this sort of?
it's central.
It's central.
Yeah.
It's central, it's free. You're not pressured to go in and buy anything. When you go in, you don't have people sort of like circling around you, saying like, well, you've been here for an hour and you only got a coffee, so it's time to get out.
Because this isn't happening at Chapters Bookstore. When I go to Polo Park, the big shopping mall here, and go into Chapters and wander around, I don't see people shooting up in the aisles, and I don't see, people having a dump in the corner. I just don't see it. So I think it's a central location for this particular building. And the other thing is, when I was a kid, I spent when I was 12, 13, 14, I spent every Friday night in the Grand Valley Public Library and every Saturday afternoon in the public library writing my stories. I should have been outside getting laid, but no.
Calm yourself. Calm yourself.
I was 35 before anything.
All right, my friends, that's all the time we have for
All the
tonight.
therapy.
I want to keep this going, but I just can't. Thanks to the crew for all, as always, for making this show happen. The Red Power panel, thank you guys for spilling your brains on camera, and for you for tuning in each week. I leave you tonight with the immortal words of Chief Dan George, who said, 100 bands, 100 bands, 100 bands. Contraband, contraband, contraband. Good night.